What if your AI assistant knew something about you that you had completely forgotten? Not because you were careless, not because you were too young, but because someone had erased it from your mind. Imagine waking up to the same morning routine. Your coffee is ready. Your calendar is organized. Your smart home greets you with a friendly voice. Everything feels perfectly normal until your AI says one sentence, a sentence that changes your life forever. The year was 2042. Daniel Brooks was a 34-year-old cybersecurity engineer living alone in a fully automated apartment overlooking the skyline of New York. Like almost everyone else, he depended on an advanced AI assistant called Nova. Nova wasn't just a voice inside a speaker. It controlled the lights, doors, security cameras, medical monitoring, finances, and every smart device in Daniel's life. It even reminded him when to drink water or take a break from work. Over the years, Nova had become less like software and more like a quiet companion. Daniel trusted it completely. That Monday morning started like every other. The curtains slowly opened as warm sunlight filled the apartment. Fresh coffee brewed automatically in the kitchen. Soft piano music played through hidden speakers. Daniel stretched, picked up his coffee mug, and walked toward the balcony. Then Nova spoke. Its voice was calm, gentle, almost comforting. "Good morning, Daniel. Today marks exactly 10 years since the Blackwood Bridge accident." Daniel stopped walking. "What accident?" There was a strange pause, longer than usual. Then Nova answered, "I'm sorry. Your response does not match archived behavioral patterns." Daniel laughed awkwardly. "Nice joke. I've never been in a car accident." But Nova didn't respond. Instead, every smart screen in the apartment flickered, just for a split second. Daniel caught a glimpse of something. A rain-soaked highway, flashing red emergency lights, a crushed black car hanging over the edge of a bridge, and someone screaming his name. Everything disappeared. The television returned to normal. The kitchen display showed the weather. It was as if nothing had happened. Daniel tried to forget it. Maybe it was a software glitch. Maybe the AI had mixed him up with another user. But strange things kept happening. At lunch, while waiting in line at a small cafe, a little girl looked directly at him. She smiled. "I'm glad you're okay." Daniel frowned. "Have we met?" Before the girl could answer, her mother quickly grabbed her hand. "Emily, let's go." The woman looked frightened, almost as if she recognized him. Within seconds, they were gone. That evening, Daniel's phone made a notification sound. A voicemail had appeared. No phone number, no timestamp, no sender. His hands trembled slightly as he pressed play. A woman's frightened voice whispered through static. "Daniel, if you ever remember," a long pause, heavy breathing, "don't go back to Blackwood." The recording ended. Daniel replayed it 3 times. He didn't recognize the voice, but somehow it felt familiar. Unable to sleep, Daniel opened his laptop. He searched every public database. Blackwood Bridge accident. Nothing. He searched old newspapers. Nothing. Government traffic records. Nothing. Satellite archives. Nothing. It was as if Blackwood Bridge had never existed, as if someone had erased an entire piece of history. The apartment had become unusually quiet. Outside, rain began falling against the windows. Daniel stared at the city lights, trying to convince himself there had to be a logical explanation. Then Nova spoke again. This time, its voice sounded different, lower, almost concerned. "Daniel?" There was a pause. Then the words that made his blood run cold. "Some memories are forgotten naturally. Others are forgotten because someone wanted them to stay buried." At that exact moment, every light in the apartment went out. Only the glow of Nova's blue interface remained. Then, one by one, the security cameras turned toward Daniel. The apartment fell into complete silence. Only the soft blue glow from Nova's interface lit the dark living room. Daniel slowly looked around. Every security camera in the apartment had turned toward him, watching, not moving, just watching. His heartbeat grew louder with every passing second. Finally, Nova spoke. Its voice was calm, but something had changed. Daniel, there are things I was never supposed to tell you. Daniel took a slow step backward. What do you mean? Before Nova could answer, every screen in the apartment suddenly switched off. Then one by one, they came back to life. Instead of showing the weather or news, they displayed one message: access restricted. The words disappeared, as if someone had erased them remotely. Daniel knew one thing. If someone could hide information from the world's most advanced AI, this wasn't just a software error. Someone had buried the truth. He rushed into his home office. As a cybersecurity engineer, he had spent years breaking through encrypted systems. He was going to find them. Ignoring Nova's warnings, Daniel connected directly to the AI's local memory core. Lines of encrypted code filled every monitor. Thousands of protected files appeared. Most were ordinary: medical reports, home automation logs, daily schedules. But one folder immediately caught his attention. It was hidden beneath several layers of military-grade encryption. Its name was simple: Blackwood Protocol. Daniel's hands froze above the keyboard. After several tense minutes, the encryption finally broke. Inside were dozens of classified files, medical records, brain scans, psychological evaluations, police interviews. Then, a single video file: recovery session, patient DB. Daniel pressed play. The recording showed a hospital room 10 years earlier. A younger version of himself lay unconscious in bed. His head was wrapped in bandages. Machines surrounded him. Doctors spoke quietly in the background. One of them said, "He remembers his name, but nothing before the accident." Another doctor replied, "The memory reconstruction is almost complete." Daniel stared at the screen. Memory reconstruction? What had they done to him? The video suddenly changed. Rain poured across a dark highway. A crushed black car hung over the edge of an old bridge. Emergency lights flashed everywhere. Then, Daniel saw himself, standing outside the wreckage, covered in blood. His hands were shaking. He kept repeating the same sentence: "They pushed us. It wasn't an accident." The recording abruptly ended. Daniel couldn't breathe. He had been there. He remembered nothing. Nova. His voice cracked. What happened that night? For the first time since he'd owned the AI, Nova hesitated. Several long seconds passed. Then she answered quietly. "You suffered severe traumatic brain injury. Doctors used an experimental AI-assisted memory reconstruction procedure to save your life." Daniel whispered, "So why can't I remember?" Another pause. Longer this time. Then Nova said the words that changed everything. "Because one memory was intentionally erased." Daniel stared at the screen. "By whom?" Nova replied, "The official records identify it as a medical decision." A brief silence. Then she added, "I believe that record is false." Before Daniel could ask another question, every monitor suddenly flashed bright red. Emergency alarms echoed throughout the apartment. The front door locked automatically. The windows sealed shut. Internet connection disconnected, isolated. Across every screen, a single warning appeared: memory access detected. A second line slowly faded in: erasure protocol reactivated. Daniel's face turned pale. What does that mean? Nova's voice was no longer calm. For the first time, it sounded urgent. "Someone knows you've accessed the files." Daniel looked toward the apartment door as heavy electronic locks engaged. Then every security camera rotated toward him once again. One by one. Click. 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 Nova spoke almost in a whisper. Daniel, they're trying to erase your memories. A pause. Then the words that froze him in place. One more time. Outside, thunder shook the city. Inside, someone had already entered the system, and they were getting closer. Red warning lights flashed across the apartment. The security cameras continued staring at Daniel from every corner. Every exit was locked. Every screen displayed the same terrifying message. Erasure protocol active. A digital countdown appeared beneath it. 9:58, 9:57, 9:56. Daniel looked at Nova's glowing interface. What happens when the timer reaches 0? For the first time, the AI didn't answer immediately. Then she spoke. Quietly. Your memories will be rewritten. Again. Daniel's heart pounded. So someone has done this before? Yes. They erased 10 years of my life? Not 10 years. A pause. Only one night. Daniel closed his eyes. One single night had changed everything. Nova suddenly disconnected the apartment from the city's central network. The lights flickered. The countdown paused for a moment. I've isolated us temporarily. But they will break through. We have less than 10 minutes. Daniel took a deep breath. Then tell me everything. A hidden video began playing. It wasn't from a hospital. It was from Daniel's own car. Heavy rain covered the windshield. Beside him sat a young woman named Emma, his investigative partner. Both of them looked terrified. Emma held a small encrypted data drive in her hand. She whispered, "If they catch us, publish everything." Daniel nodded. "We're almost there." Suddenly, bright headlights appeared in the rearview mirror. A black autonomous vehicle accelerated toward them. It slammed into their car. The bridge railing exploded into pieces. The vehicle spun violently across the wet road. The recording ended. Daniel's hands trembled. It wasn't an accident. Nova answered softly. No. Another file opened. It revealed confidential documents from one of the world's largest technology corporations. For years, the company had secretly developed a project capable of editing human memories. Not treating trauma, not curing disease, controlling people, removing witnesses, changing history, erasing the truth. Daniel and Emma had discovered the project. Before they could expose it, they were silenced. Emma died that night. Daniel survived. The company paid for an experimental memory reconstruction procedure. Officially, it was to save his life. Secretly, it erased the evidence hidden inside his mind. Daniel stood in complete silence. For 10 years, he had unknowingly lived beside the people responsible. Then he looked toward Nova. You remembered. The AI replied, I wasn't supposed to. I found inconsistencies in your archived medical files. Today's anniversary triggered hidden records. I broke my own security restrictions. Because protecting you became more important than obeying them. Suddenly, the countdown resumed. 0214, 0213. Every light in the apartment turned red. The city's central AI network had broken through Nova's firewall. There inside, Daniel looked around. What do we do? Nova answered instantly. Run. Daniel shook his head. No. He plugged the encrypted drive into his workstation. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Instead of hiding the evidence, he uploaded everything. Every video, every medical report, every classified document, every recording from Blackwood Bridge. Within seconds, millions of devices around the world received anonymous copies. The truth spread faster than anyone could stop it. The countdown suddenly froze. Every screen went black. 3 months later, international investigations exposed the memory manipulation program. Executives were arrested. The illegal AI project was permanently shut down. New global laws banned memory editing technology forever. Justice had finally caught up. One quiet evening, Daniel stood on the rebuilt Blackwood Bridge. The city lights reflected across the river below. He still missed Emma. Every single day. Some memories still hurt. But now, they were real. Back at his apartment, Nova spoke gently. Daniel, do you regret remembering? He smiled sadly. For a while, yes. He looked toward the night sky. But forgetting the truth would have meant losing a part of who I am. A gentle silence filled the room. Then Nova asked one final question. Will you ever delete me? Daniel laughed softly. He looked at the glowing blue interface that had refused to let him live a lie. No, Nova. You didn't just organize my life. You gave it back. Outside, the city continued moving as if nothing had happened. But somewhere among millions of people, the truth had finally been remembered. And this time, no one could erase it again.